Welcome everybody. Welcome to the first Marketplace App Hour moderated by Adaptavist. We are very happy being the first presenters of this new event format. Today, as already mentioned, it's about JXL and Deep Clone, better together. First of all, I'd like to introduce you the presenting team of today. We are very happy to have Hannes, the co-founder and co-CEO of JXL, on board. A warm welcome also to my colleague Marlene, product manager at codefortynine. Marlene is an Atlassian expert with a deep and long year expertise. And my name is Valeria. I am I'm partner manager here at codefortynine, and I am more than happy to guide you through this app hour today. What have we prepared for you? I will demo the top use cases of Deep Clone for our customers and highlight the benefits of using Deep Clone for Jira. Then Hannes will speak about easier, faster Jira, and then he will demo the top features of JXL for Jira. And in the third part, we will show you actually how both apps come together to create an even better solution for the users. We will show you how the integration allows our users to clone issues directly from the context menu of a JXL sheet. So we are showing you how we combined the strengths of both apps in this integration. Last part is the Q&A part. We are very much looking forward to your questions. Please ask them in the chat during the session, or feel free to ask them personally when we get to the Q&A part. Coming to Deep Clone for Jira, first a few words on codefortynine, the creator behind Deep Clone for Jira. We are a platinum marketplace partner with a team of 10 members. We are all based in Germany, and our 16 specialized apps in the marketplace are used by over 20,000 customers and more than 1.5 million users worldwide. Numbers we from codefortynine are really proud of. So coming to Deep Clone for Jira. So with over 12,800 installs, Deep Clone is the leading cloning app and one of the fastest growing apps for Jira Cloud. Deep Clone is cloud fortified, and we just renewed our SOC 2 certification this summer. So what makes Deep Clone for Jira so valuable for the users? What makes it so powerful? With Deep Clone, you can actually clone issues individually or in a bulk with up to 100,000 issues. You can clone entire projects, including configurations, epics, and larger issue trees. The cloning can be done within a project, between projects, regardless of project category, within an instance, and also across instances. And also automated cloning is possible with post functions in Deep Clone. Generally, the cloning process is fast and user-friendly, and for most features, no admin knowledge is actually required. So coming to the first top use case, it is using Deep Clone actually for escalating support tickets from a JSM project to a software project. This is a very common use case in ITSM support teams and agencies. And I would like to show you how this looks in Jira. So I have actually prepared a JSM project for you. And here we have a support ticket, which I would actually like to escalate to the dev team. So what I want to do, actually, I want to clone all attachments, comments, and other key functionality, key information, because this is important. I want to hand over the entire information to the dev team. So how do I proceed when cloning manually? I click on Actions, I open Deep Clone, and here in the Deep Clone configuration dialog, I first of all choose my target project. It's Escalate Bug to Dev, the project name. I select the issue type, and further down, I choose the fields which I would like to have cloned to the dev team. I also want to clone the watchers. And yes, just let me recheck exactly. Just have to move this window here from Zoom, sorry. So I press the action button, and then I start the cloning process. In this mask, actually, I get a real-time information on the current status of the cloning. So the cloning is completed, and by clicking here on this link, I am opening the cloned issue. So I have now here the escalated support ticket available in the project of the dev team, as I originally wanted to. So it's also possible to do the cloning via presets. What is presets? So presets is actually, as you can see here, it is a manager where I can set up presets, where I can actually define the configuration according which an issue or a ticket in this case is cloned. So I have set up the preset called Escalate Ticket, and I have actually checked the same configuration as I did in the manual cloning process. So now getting back to my original support ticket, which I would like to clone. So what should the support agent then do? He doesn't need to open Deep Clone anymore and do the settings manually. He simply can press the preset button, Escalate Ticket, and immediately the ticket is cloned according to the configuration in the preset. So yeah, as you've seen, by using presets, errors in the cloning process can be avoided and the data consistency is maintained. Good. Coming to my second use case. As the second use case, I'd like to demo you how to work with project templates in Deep Clone. So many large organizations and departments have recurring projects with similar requirements. Recurring projects, for example, are onboardings of new customers or new employees, new feature, new product releases, code reviews, audits, and so on. And teams or departments like operations, engineering, project management, finance, HR, and marketing work with project templates. And we actually recommend first collecting and documenting the project requirements when creating templates. And then in the second step, to set up the project in Jira and to use this project then as a template. I will now show you how this looks like in Jira. So I have set up a onboarding project template here, which includes all steps for the onboarding of new employees in our company. And actually, this template I want to clone, as I have a new employee, John Johnson, joining the company. Therefore, I open Deep Clone again. I click here on the left-hand side on Project Clone. I select the source project. I enter a project key and this was wrong. The new project name. and let me call him John Johnson. And now I start the cloning process of this template. Let's just check what happened here. Maybe I already used Joe Johnson.
I think you already had this key, used this key, but I think you now chose a new one.
Thank you. So yeah, I already have been using the key, so I changed the key. Thank you, Marlene. So now actually the new project for the onboarding of Joe Johnson is created. The board is cloned, the project properties, the project roles, and the schemes are reused. And yeah, now I can proceed in the cloning process. I fetch the issues which shall be cloned, and I use here the presets I have already set up for this onboarding of new employees. And I would also like to show you here the field editor. So it is also possible to edit fields by using Deep Clone. Marlene will actually dive deeper into the field editor later. And yeah, so I have chosen all the settings for cloning this project, and I will now start the project cloning. So the entire project with its issues and configurations is cloned, and yeah, by using actually project templates, yeah, work within project is significantly accelerated. The project no longer needs to be created from scratch. Instead, the template is cloned and the project team can start immediately with the work. So also here I get an overview on the yeah, cloning. The cloning is finished, and especially if you run larger clone jobs, you can run the cloning in the background. The biggest clone job, which was executed with Deep Clone, included 88,499 issues. So the entire project is now cloned, and yeah, let me just show you. As you can see here, we now have the new onboarding project for the new colleague, John Johnson. Great. Coming to the last use case. So what is also possible to do with Deep Clone is the cloning between instances. So issues and projects can be migrated from one Jira Cloud instance to another. This is a very common use case for Jira admins and Atlassian consultants. And for a migration between instances, both instances, of course, need to have Deep Clone installed. For setting up the instance clone, the admin needs permission, needs admin permission for both instances, and also the user triggering the clone should have access to the target instance and the permission to create an issue. So I would like to show you how it works to connect two instances in Jira by using Deep Clone. So I have here my source instance C49 showcase, and I would like to connect it to the instance C49 Valeria. I generate a binding key. I copy this binding key, and then I click on the target instance. Let me just open the target instance again. I open the.
Yeah, you have to go to the Jira settings on the top right, the other.
So I'm getting there. So and yeah, so I have now opened also my the target instance C49 Valeria. I submit here the generating key, and I connect both instances with each other. So as you can see here now, the C49 source instance is now connected with the C49 Valeria instance, And now you can do the issue cloning and project cloning also between instances. Yeah, Atlassian used Deep Clone for consolidating multiple Jira Cloud instances to one, and it actually helped them it saved them up to 6 months of work. So yeah, I'm through with the Deep Clone for Jira, and I'm very happy to hand over now to Hannes.
All right, thank you, Valeria. Hi, everyone. I'm just gonna share my screen. Let me know if it doesn't work. Otherwise, I assume it does. Now there's some Zoom control in the way. There we go. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Hannes, and yes, I am part of the team behind JXL, which we will see in some detail in a moment. Before we get to that, just 2 or 3 words about myself. I'll promise I keep it short. So before starting to work on JXL, roughly 4 years ago, I actually worked for Atlassian on the Jira team for quite a while. My personal Atlassian journey started more than 10 years ago, however, with an app called Jira Portfolio, which, as some of you may know, has been acquired by Atlassian and is now called, I think it's called Advanced Roadmaps these days. So still around. And news from just a couple of weeks ago, JXL joined Appfire. So this is our great new home, and we are very excited to be part of Appfire. So quite a bit of time in the Atlassian universe, and I think there's one thing that has been consistent, and that is I've been, and my co-founder has been consistently thinking about how can we make Jira easier and faster for everyone. Right? We all spend a lot of time in Jira, and I think every second, every minute, every hour that we can get back to do the things we love, I think is invaluable. So that's what we've been aiming for. And interestingly enough, we kind of came back to a concept that is almost as old as personal computing, and that is spreadsheets. Spreadsheets obviously don't quite look like this anymore, but are highly optimized, highly performant computation engines. So we all know Excel, we all know spreadsheet, we all know numbers. There is I guess some kind of a next gen of spreadsheets, of table apps these days. Some Airtable comes to mind. There are similar offerings from Google and Microsoft as well. And spreadsheets or table views are really kind of table stake in a lot of productivity tools today. So we were asking ourselves, why would Jira users have to miss out on a truly powerful table, truly powerful spreadsheet application? And this is exactly where our app, where JXL comes in, because the goal of JXL has always been and still is to combine the power of Jira, the flexibility of Jira, with the simplicity and with the familiarity of spreadsheets, and kind of bring together the best of both worlds, if you want. Now, one thing that is important is that for us, kind of this idea of a table, idea of a spreadsheet, that's really kind of more of the foundation on top of which we can then build more advanced features, as we will see in a moment. So we really see JXL as the all-in-one, excuse me, all-in-one issue editor and organizer for Jira. As for spreadsheets in general, I think the use cases are virtually endless. So this is just a couple of buckets where we saw our customers be successful with JXL, ranging from project management to manufacturing and production. But the list of use cases is really virtually endless. So I don't expect you to read that slide or remember that slide. It should really just give you an impression of how wide possible use cases of JXL can be. And without much further ado, let's hop into a demo. So switching over to Jira. So we are in a Jira Cloud site right now. just a disclaimer, JXL is also available for data center and even for server still. It looks exactly the same. So functionality is identical. So what you see is that as we have JXL installed on this site, we have this additional concept, this additional entity of a sheet in our Jira site. Every sheet lives within a project. So in this case, we're in the fine work project. I can have as many sheets as I want. They can also be organized in folders. And if we go into the edit mode, then we can see that every sheet is essentially three things. Every sheet has a name, program management in this case. It has a so-called sheet scope. Sheet scope defines which issues should be part of the sheet. So this can either be a JQL statement or a saved filter. One thing that is important is you can already see here that we're actually pulling in issues from 2 projects. So we have full flexibility over which issues we want to include. And then arguably the most important thing is what we call the column configuration. So depending on what use case you're trying to solve, you can build your perfect table view by adding columns, by removing columns, by shifting columns around, where every column is ultimately a piece of issue data. So this can be a system field, like the assignee or the priority or the status. We support all custom fields. We have a long list of integrations with other popular third-party apps like Script Runner, for example. And then there is a long list of what we call smart columns and history columns. So these are things that we can calculate for you based on information that exists on your issue. So time and status is a very popular one. Like how much time did my issue spend in progress, for example. Like the information is there, but it's not necessarily very well surfaced in Jira, but we can do that for you. So in this case, we have quite a few columns. We have a couple of standard fields here. These are assets from JSM, couple of custom fields, story points, attachments, time tracking. So you see, this is a fairly big sheet. And once we're done with the setup, this is where the fun part begins. Because what I can do now is I can start working on my issues just as I would do in a spreadsheet. So I can navigate around, I make my change, I confirm my change, and I just updated the issue. This works for all fields, of course. We can change the priority, we can change the status. As an engineer, I'm a terribly lazy person. So my favorite feature is actually copy-paste. So let's say we want to change the status, or let's start with the priority of a bunch of fields. All I have to do is pick a value, copy the value, and let's say I want to update the priority of these, I don't know, 10 or something issues. I just pick the cells, I hit the shortcut for paste, and voila, I just updated the priority for 10 issues. So can't get any easier, I don't think. If I change my mind and say, look, that was maybe not quite the right thing, then I just hit the shortcut for undo, and we're back to where we were before. And that works for all kinds of columns. There's all the standard spreadsheet interactions that you would expect, like, sorting and filtering. And yeah, I think that's already, very useful for a lot of customers, like just to, view and interact with your issues. But as said before, for us, it's more the foundation for more advanced features. These more advanced features are generally available from up here. So for example, what I can do is I can enable sum ups. It's just one click. And you see now we have this additional row at the top that gives us a summary of the values that we see in this column. And this is all updating live. So let's say I want to change the story points here from 12 to, 100. Then you will see this number here go up in real time. Sum ups play really, really nicely with grouping. So I can also group my issues by any field. Like you see, there's a long list of fields. It doesn't even have to be part of the sheet. So let's say we want to group by assignee. And now we have more of these special rows that basically group our issues by assignee, but I can also group by status or any other field. I can also view my issues in their hierarchy. So, in Jira, there's the default epic story subtask hierarchy. If I enable this, also just one click, then we will see our issues. I'm gonna just collapse them all. Now we see our issues organized by epic, and we can drill down into the stories of the epic and into the subtasks. All this can be combined in so-called structures. So this gives me full flexibility over how I want to view my issues. I can combine hierarchical levels. I can combine with grouping levels, with sum up levels, to whatever structure of issues exists in my organization, whatever I want to see. So in this case, at the bottom, we would have kind of epic story subtask hierarchy. Then we would do a grouping by project, and then have another 3 hierarchy levels on top of that. In this case, initiative, program, objective. Do a sum up at the very top. And if we enable this, then we see, okay, now we have a fairly sophisticated system of issues that starts with the objective, goes down to the program level, goes down to the initiative level, goes down to the project level, and then we have our epic story subtask. Not everybody needs this, but if that's the way that you organize your issues, then you have full flexibility over this. There's a ton more features, but I will spare you some of these features for now. I will get back to that in our joint demo with Marlene. And on this note, I shall hand over to, I think Marlene goes next. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Okay, then I share my screen. Thank you, Hannes, for hand over the microphone to me now. So hello, I'm Marlene. And I think everybody's maybe waiting urgently for how can actually these 2 apps be used together. And I would like to present that to you together with Hannes. So now imagine you're a QA manager of an interstellar engineering company building an interstellar portal. And I think you can imagine that a QA manager maybe has around 100,000 issues in his projects to actually test and make sure that everything works fine. But to make it simple, to keep it simple, we only have some example here on our JXL sheet. So imagine this are all the tests and checks that needs to be done when a component of this interstellar portal gets updated, or or if like a release is updated. And so everybody who has worked in QA or has worked together with a QA team knows that QA is not doing their tasks only once, but over and over and over and over again. So it wouldn't make sense to create them manually, of course, and it would also not make sense to work on the same task over and over again, because they want to report defects, link defects, maybe they want to comment, maybe they have to test something with maybe they installed a different antenna where they have to tweak a bit the numbers for the testing. So our recommendation would be to work with a template project. Like you create, this is like the template project. You have the Interstellar Portal template project, and in this project you select all the tests and checks that needs to be done. And once you want to test a component, once an update gets done, you clone the templates into a project where you actually work in this. And now imagine the security system was updated, needs to be tested. I can also filter it. Of course, it's pretty cool that we have a better overview about it. And now I want to clone here. I will remove them. So I will clone all the issues below this epic. So I just click on this epic, and there you see actually the integration. There you see you can actually trigger this clone right from the JXL sheet. We click on Deep Clone, and now we get transferred to the Deep Clone app. And if I would select single clone now, it would only clone the epic. This is what Valeria showed you with the escalation use case before. But now we want to clone the issue hierarchy. So this is cloning the epic, but it can also clone larger issue trees, like with initiatives or any hierarchy you build on your instance. So if you select this, select the target project for the release. Now it's fetching the issues. We also want to clone the subtasks. And as you can see here, yeah, maybe we can configure everything manually. You have seen this with Valeria. And then that's it. And I will start the clone. And now it's pretty fast. I actually don't know how long it takes to clone 100,000 issues at once, because this is something that also depends on your instance and stuff like what you actually want to clone, how much content the issues have. But the good news is that you can actually let it run in the background. You can just start it on Friday. So let them get an email notification when it's done. And when you want to like look while the clone is in progress and see, oh, what's going on? Are there any errors or so? You can always go to the clone history and actually check, okay, now I did this one is running. And then you can see, okay, what's happening here? Is everything fine? So yeah. And now I will hand over to Hannes, and he can show you where the sheet where the clone actually were created to.
Perfect. Thank you, Marlene. So I am now in the same instance that Marlene was working on. I'm now in the target project in which we cloned our issues. This is my sheet here, and if I hit the refresh table and the universe doesn't fail me, then there they are. Then we should see our just newly cloned issues here as well. As you remember, these were actually organized in a hierarchy, and this hierarchy obviously also exists in the cloned issues. So if I enable my default hierarchy in the sheet, then we will see there we are, our issues organized just as they were organized before. What I can do now is, let's say I'm now the person responsible for doing this work. I may come to the conclusion that there is another piece of work needed for this task, and I can now, of course, add my new task into these cloned issues. So let's say we want to do another motor fuel injection checkup. I do not know. Let's say that's what's required. Then we can also kind of inline create issues in that hierarchy that works on all levels, of course. And JXL is smart enough to understand what parent-child relationships need to be established. This also works, by the way, for issue link based hierarchies. So I can also define a hierarchy based on issue links, and then the correct parent-child issue links would be established in the background. What I can also do is I can also easily reorganize my issues. So let's say I came to the conclusion that these subtasks actually belong to another parent, then I can just move them over and just update the parent-child relationships accordingly. And that again works for all levels of the hierarchy. And with that, Marlene, I shall hand back to you.
Thank you, Hannes. I share my screen again. Okay, there we are in the template project again. And now imagine things happening. There was like a release, but now they found an issue. They need to have a hotfix update. And they only want to test certain aspects. So they only want to clone the most critical tests so that they can be done as fast as possible. So that's pretty cool. We can use the filter again, and we only have to test. The issue was found in the energy core, actually. Oh no, it was the quantum gate system, I think. And when the quantum gate system is broken, then there's always something with navigation. I think QA knows that. So we apply the filter, and now only these tests have to be done. So we have we cannot clone now the whole epic. We don't want to do this. But we want to have now this specific selection of issues. We want to clone this. So we select this and click on the right again. And now you see this is the leading to the single clone menu again, or the epic clone if you select an epic. But we can only also bulk clone the issues, and which is pretty cool that now JXL is like sending us the correct issue keys that we need to clone. So this is pretty simple, and I know from our customers it's sometimes very, very hard to get the exact issue keys that you want to clone, and then even keep the connection between the issues, the hierarchical connection. So this is very nice. And we select our target project again. And because now we don't have much time, of course we choose the preset, which Valeria showed before. So the preset, actually, I saw the question in the chat. The preset is not triggered automatically, but we can actually, but Deep Clone can be integrated with Jira automation that works on a workflow post function. With that, so either you can then change the status and then trigger a clone automatically, or you integrate it with Jira automation in a looping transition. This is maybe a bit too complicated to explain now, but everybody who's interested, just send us an email or look out. We have a very extended documentation about this. But this one is now triggered manually. I could now clone immediately, so that would be super fast. But I want to show you a bit more about the preset. So I added, for example, the prefix summary. I think everybody who clones with Jira is constantly annoyed about the clone prefix. So you can either edit it or don't use it at all. And here I want to show you something advanced. To explain it to you, I have to go back to the sheets shortly. So we have here a custom field. This is a custom number field, just a number field. And it's the days to complete. So if you want to do this test, it needs 3 days. If you want to do this, it needs 5 days. This needs 6 days. And as you can see here, the due date field is empty. But what are we going to do here is we will, on the clone, we will set the due date automatically, and it will get calculated by this number field and using this Jira expression. So I can give you a short preview. So here you can see that it will set the due date automatically based on what in the number field is shown. So I don't know who of you has worked with Jira expressions. I'm not an expert with this, but I know it's very, very powerful, and you can do a lot of things with this. So we don't offer it only for this field, but also for other Jira fields. So if you want to do some fancy editing while cloning, maybe you can think of it's possible with Jira expressions. And if you don't know how to do it, you can also reach out to us and ask us. And of course, we can also set other fields like the FX version. And now, because Hannes is in charge of this super this super stressful release, I will also set the assignee to Hannes, and that he has to take care that everything gets done in time. And we start the clone. And now I will hand over to Hannes again, and he can show you the result on the board. It will take a bit time, but I'm sure here it's done soon. A few seconds left.
Excellent. Thank you, Marlene. Let's have a look at our sheet again. So we'll hit the refresh button again and see a bunch of new issues. Here they are. And we see that, Marlene just set the effects version to 2.3. So we have that here. Marlene was kind enough to assign them all to me. I may, at least partly disagree with that and assign it back to her. And that kind of, and we also updated the due date. So let's see if that actually works. So what we can do now here is add the due date column. We don't currently have that in our sheet. So I'm just gonna add the due date. So I just need to move some zoom controls around. Here we are. And let's also add the time to due date. So that's a smart column that we calculate for you. And there we go. So here we have our updated due days. And they are also kind of, 2 or 4 or 5 days away. I think that's exactly the values that you had in your time to completion field before. And that gives me an opportunity to showcase yet another advanced feature that we have, conditional formatting. So let's say the space engineer who is ultimately responsible for that wants to prioritize their work and want to get a clear visual indication of what is the most urgent thing to do. Then we could create a conditional formatting rule. So this basically allows us to define certain conditions on our issues. And if these conditions are fulfilled, then set a certain background color or text color. So let's say we want to set a condition based on the time to due date. Let's take the due date and say, okay, we want to color the entire table row and say, okay, look, if this is relative from anywhere in the past to in the future, let's say 4 days, then we want to give it a nice highlight color. Let's take the orange here. And if we enable this, we see within the next 3 days, this is the one that is urgent. And I can also add multiple conditions here and then use the different shades of orange or red, depending on the urgency of the issue. And that obviously works for all fields and all kinds of conditions. So again, I have a lot of flexibility over what I want to highlight and see in my sheet. Just because there was a question in the chat, yes, the gray issue would be a story. In our case, I think we chose a custom icon. Yeah, and I think this brings me to the end of our joint demo. Marlene, thanks for being such an awesome partner in crime here. And with that, I hand back to Valeria.
Yes, great. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Hannes. It was really great seeing how these two apps come together to create an even better solution. I hope you also enjoyed the presentation of JXL and Deep Clone for Jira, and especially the shared use case, what we were focusing on today. So actually now please feel free to ask your questions. We have had some questions in the chat. Maybe someone of you also wants to ask in person his questions. Please unmute and let us know if there are any questions.
I've got a quick question myself. On Deep Clone, when you are going from one instance to another, do you need a license on each instance?
Yes. So Valeria, she showed in her demo, she showed how you can actually connect like the cloning from one instance to the another, but you have to have deep clone in both instances. But then you also can clone in both directions.
Yeah, nice.
So from one direction to the other, but you need on both.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you. Any other questions for Valeria, Hannes, or Marlene? I think this was a great presentation. I really was very excited to actually, I can already see some of the use cases that I could, start to spin up with various clients just from the standpoint of testing, especially. In a Q&A world, these two products would be invaluable just from the standpoint of multiple testing stages. So very exciting to see these together. Any other questions for anyone?
Yeah, I have one question, and also I agree with you. This looks really good. I'm going to continue to explore some use cases here for my company, but I can definitely see some application using these together for us. The question I have is regarding the JXL. You had mentioned that you can establish a link type hierarchy in addition to just simply a parent-child hierarchy. Can you combine those two things? Say, for example, and here would be my use case. Atlassian doesn't currently allow the idea issue type from product discovery to be a part of the hierarchy. And I would like to be able to view an idea as the top of the hierarchy and all of the Jira work that delivers that stack below it.
Yes, absolutely. So this is actually one of the use cases that I've come across a few times, JPD related. And if I may share my screen again just for a second. So the way that you model that is actually, let me switch back to the other one. So for the hierarchy levels, like, it can be in the structure, it can be a hierarchy level or a grouping level or a sum up level. And if you have a hierarchy level, then you first specify kind of the issue types that should map to a certain level. And then the other thing, and I didn't go into too much detail before, is the parent linkage. And what you can do here is you can either use the default parent linkage. So this is basically Jira's, built-in parent-child relationship, like, subtask parent or story epic or anything that you configured in advanced roadmaps for that matter. Or it can be any amount of issue links. So, like, we can say, okay, take the default parent linkage, or if that doesn't exist, then take these two issue link. I think description is the correct word, and you have full flexibility over combining these. So yeah, you could have parts of your hierarchy using Jira's built-in parent-child relationships and parts of your hierarchy using issue links. With JPD, this is actually a very, very, very good use case. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That looks great.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Other questions?
Yes.
If there are no other questions, I want to thank Valeria, Marlene, and Hannes for an excellent presentation. I think this was phenomenal. This is exactly what community is all about, right? Coming together with different apps, different things that work well together. Again, I would encourage all of you to, by all means, send an email to me or a pigeon with what you'd like to see in the future. Remember, these events are all about you. We want to make sure that we're delivering things that add value to you. Just like today, I think we really saw the value in these two products, these apps working well together. And again, my thanks to the presenters. This was very exciting. I've got lots of ideas already kind of floating in my head, things I want to play with. And I know going forward that I'm going to be spending some time in Deep Clone and JXL.
Yeah, great. Thank you also once again from our side for joining, for having the time, and for diving deeper together with us. And also, Hannes, a big thank you to JXL for the great collaboration on this shared use case.
Yes, likewise.
So,
can't wait to. Likewise, I can't wait to see where this collaboration is leading to in the future. Like, I think there's many more opportunities. So yeah, thanks everyone also from my side. It was great being here.
Yeah.
Everyone have a great day.
Thank
you again for attending.
Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.